right, welcome to I Finance Mortgage. I have the pleasure of sitting with Jason Rowland. He is a
everybody.
realtor at Seven Gables Real Estate. And how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. I just kind of wanted to bring you on. We can talk about the market and all of your years of experience and really help our clients or potential buyers, sellers to just navigate this tricky market that we're in.
Definitely.
So just to get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business, yourself, and kind of what led you to get into real estate and how long that you've been doing it?
Well, those are all great questions. I've been a full-time realtor for 18 years, representing buyers and sellers. Moving into real estate, it was kind of a natural move for me. My dad, he was a spec builder. Oh, wow. He built homes when I was growing up. I started going on job sites with my dad.
That's awesome.
Watching houses from the framing and just the whole process of building a home, probably from the time I was around 10 years old. So I've been around the business a long time.
And just built up a passion too, like seeing it that old or like when you were so young and just seeing how all the homes like came together too. And like
it was always something I had an interest in. My dad used to ask me, "What do you want to do when you get older?" I said, "I want to build tall buildings and drive a Porsche."
Yeah, that's perfect. That is perfect. And so the first thing that I do want to highlight that I have seen are these grand openings that you have. I feel I've been in the industry a long time too, and your open houses are just unmatched. It's all the people coming together. I just think that it's incredible, like what you put together. Maybe just kind of explain a little or how that really got started, because I don't really see them like that, like all that.
Absolutely.
You can tell a lot of passion goes into it.
To me, real estate, it's like art.
Yeah.
And perfecting your craft is critical to your seller's success. So something that I've adapted and enjoy very much is creating a grand opening event for a new listing. It's really all about channeling that momentum. When you're representing a seller and you have a property that's new to the market, that's when you're at your hottest point, is when you're brand new to the market. I like to create a true event. I like to have very crowded open houses. Mm-hmm. What I generally do is, let's say the first week I list a property, let's say that first Monday through Friday. That's just really me and my team behind the scenes, working on marketing, working on advertising, preparing for that first weekend on the market and that grand opening. Through all those various efforts, typically when I arrive at my open house about 15 to 20 minutes early to get set up, there's already cars and people waiting for me when I arrive. It's become almost normal for my open houses on that initial weekend to have anywhere from 200 to 300 people through.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just even as a seller, that has to be just to pick a realtor like you that, like you said, you need to master your craft, and you put all the time. It's not just like, oh, I need to do an open house tomorrow, it's Saturday, and that I feel like that most of them just go put out a sign, maybe post some videos, but it's really taking it to a whole nother level. Even like the name, even when I first spoke with you, I was like, wow, I've never heard it like
an open house should not be like a last minute decision. It should be well planned, well thought out. You need to have systems in place.
Yep. And it definitely shows. Again, just passion, everything included in that, and that is amazing. Another thing that I wanted to highlight is that you just were rewarded in the beginning of this year, top 20% for client satisfaction. I'm sure that could kind of tie into these grand openings that you're doing.
Absolutely.
But, like what do you really think Like, that is just amazing. These are being pulled from Google and all together. And in your 18 years to be in that top 20% in Orange County, pretty incredible.
It's an amazing feeling. I love taking care of people. I have a passion for people, helping people. That was a big reason why I got in the business to begin with, is just the enjoyment that comes from helping people achieve their real estate goals. So because that's always been sort of my outlook and taking care of people, that's really how I've obtained that top 20%. It's 18 years of hard work, dedication, and putting people first. And this is the end result, and I'm very, very proud of it. It's a great feeling.
You should be very proud of it. It's incredible. And now, like, seeing how this market has changed, definitely maybe the last year or year or two or a couple of years has definitely fluctuated more. What pivots and adjustments have you made during this challenging time to keep that? It sounds like you never stop there because you focus on the relationships, but to attract new buyers, sellers, and just keep your business, even in the tough times, still running smoothly.
Tiffany, one thing I can tell you, 18 years in the business, the market is always changing and adjusting, and you have to adjust with it. I've seen a full cycle. I have seen a full-blown buyer's market where we have tons of inventory and a lack of buyers, which is the polar opposite of what we have now. But the trick is to be willing to change, understand what's happening, and that really comes from being a full-time realtor, being in the trenches, researching the market, and just having a good, thorough understanding of how to make the market work for you. And that's really what I've always done. What I can tell you now, if you're a buyer, you're probably wondering, is it a good time to buy? A lot of conversations about interest rates. Well, one thing I can tell you, it's never a bad time to buy. It always makes sense to own real estate. If you're a buyer and you're on the fence, what I would tell you is get off the fence. You need to be working with a good realtor that understands the market, has your best interests at heart. And I would truly advise you to get out there. And if you're in a position now, if you're pre-approved and you're financially stable, the time to buy is now. The further this year goes on, if we do have multiple rate decreases, that's only going to intensify the market. We're going to have a lot more buyers in the marketplace at that point. And I can tell you, this past weekend, the weather wasn't great. We had some rain. I attended multiple open houses in multiple cities. And the one common theme was I was actually waiting in a short line, not a forever line, not like mine, but they were consistently busy. With that being said, you guys, it's January. I think that's a telltale sign. It's going to be a very active year. If you're a seller and you have a good reason to sell, you have somewhere to go, perhaps you own a second home or you're interested in moving out of state, the time to sell is now. Inventory's low. The majority of neighborhoods have no signs for sale. If you're on the fence about selling, I'd love to talk to you. It's definitely a good time to sell.
What would some of the things, what are the top for sellers not wanting to, holding onto their properties right now? What have you seen that are those main reasons, and then how do you walk them through that and get them ready?
That's a great question. One of the main reasons that I believe sellers have been holding back, one of the big reasons is definitely rates. Homeowners nationwide locked in
at like
very low fixed interest rates over the pandemic. We had those historically low rates. That's one of the reasons I think that sellers have been staying. Even they may have a real motivation somewhere they'd really like to be, but that's been sort of holding them back. As rates go down, as the market loosens up, that's really going to help both sides of the market. With those lower rates.
Won't be that far. And not all are in 2%. There's still a lot of 3 and 4s.
Absolutely.
Once they get closer to the low 5s, some might still be able to take that plunge, because I've seen with some of my clients, a lot of people, when they did get into them in 2020, 2021, they have the low rate, but they also kind of had a plan to maybe it wasn't supposed to be the dream home.
Right.
It was supposed to be live there for a couple of years and then get into next one's the dream home.
It's very true.
Do you think a lot of clients right now or sellers didn't plan on staying where they were as long, but those rates are kind of keeping them
You made a
in.
really good point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of truth to what
Yeah.
you just mentioned. And one thing I would like to say is the market is already starting to loosen some. The rates have already come down. We peaked last November?
Significant.
Rates are significantly lower. I'm already seeing more enthusiasm in the marketplace this month. Really just in the last couple of weeks I've seen it come to life. Without a doubt, sellers are seeing that rates are lower than they were. And I think that thought of moving is becoming more of a reality with each passing day and week.
We're getting closer.
We're getting closer. It's coming, I'm telling you.
Definitely getting closer.
Yeah.
And that's why I like to bring in, you are one of the top producing realtors in Orange County. And it's just, I imagine this is a scary time, buying, selling, even if it's your first or a new investment. Investments have been tricky too with the rates if the numbers weren't quite making sense. Now, I feel like we might be seeing a shift here soon. The top economists were saying, I think it just switched again yesterday, but pretty much like March to July. So I think now even though the rates have already went down significant.
That's right.
But now they're saying that it's going to be closer to July. So what would your advice be to a buyer or seller? But basically, when? Should they wait until March to see if it gets closer? Or what is your advice on that?
That's a great question. My advice is really analyzing somebody's situation on a case-by-case basis. If you're financially sound and you're in a position to buy, I believe now is the right time to buy. I believe as the market gets busier, as rates come down and there's more buyers in the marketplace, that's going to elevate the number of offers per property. It's going to make it more difficult to obtain that property. And ultimately, as the year goes on and we get towards the end of the year, prices are going to be significantly higher again than they are today. My advice is simple. If you're in a sound financial position, now is the time to buy. And same thing for a seller. If you're financially secure and the numbers make sense for you, we have a real lack of sellers in the marketplace. You're going to benefit. It's a great time to sell.
Would you highlight this market right here, say now until maybe that next rate drop? Would you claim this is more of a buyer's market that we're in now?
Right now, I really can't tell you we're in a buyer's market simply because we don't have enough inventory to be in a quote-unquote buyer's market. Now, with that being said, it is still easier to buy today than it will be 3 months, 6 months from now.
Or is there going to be, since there is lower inventory, would it be a little easier in this time compared to maybe later when there's more competition out for buyers to have a little more room for negotiations or when you're basically submitting that offer?
Absolutely. That's another really good question. And I analyze it multiple ways because, again, every property is different. Every location is different. So you really have to analyze it again on a case-by-case basis. But days on market can really be a telling point. If a property, let's just say it's been on the market 3-4 weeks or more, and they've been listed at, let's say, the same price for a number of weeks, that generally gives you an indication that there's not multiple offers. And if it's the right property for you, you may have a little negotiating power. Days on market is something that I definitely look at when I'm analyzing and trying to help the buyer make a sound decision on what they should offer. And also talking to the agent. Guys, we're in a time where a lot of agents don't pick up the phone. They just want to text. I always call. I want to talk to the listing agent. I want to pick their brain. I also want to establish rapport. Yep. That's very critical. I call the
listing agent.
Yes.
In this market too, that was probably more started. I mean, it's been for years now,
right.
But absolutely, if your lender isn't calling the listing agent, definitely you should have your team picked. And I should know the moment you send that offer, you're sending me their number. I'm reaching out, giving them a call, seeing if they have any questions on the finance side as well to really make that offer strong.
Absolutely. And from working together, I'll copy you when I submit the offer. You're going to know right away. I'll follow that up with a text, give you the selling agent's information, and that way we're hitting the ground running. And it impresses the seller's agent. When you're reaching out and you're a good communicator, that can make a big difference, especially in a multiple offer scenario.
100%. And it takes away from them assuming if they have multiple offers and then I'm calling, they might look at something and be like, oh, I wonder this.
That's right.
Instead of them just kind of sitting there like with the assuming, I can actually call, get in there, and maybe even save it.
That's right.
And I feel like a lot of lenders and mortgage brokers are starting to get on top of that as well, but it's huge.
It is.
Like, and in this market, I feel like even you in the beginning going to relationships and really creating that experience,
right.
And just for buyers, sellers to really pick your team. That we're all CC'd, we're all on the same page. We know there's no assuming, and I should know exactly when and what you're putting in that offer.
That's right. It's very much a team concept.
It's all for the client.
That's right.
And I feel like that unity, though, has been stronger these past few years. And I would love to see that grow. And I think that's...
Right, and I talk about my 4 C's of real estate, which is communication, creates comfort and clarity. It's all about communication, whether it's realtor to realtor, lender to lender, or all of us together. It's that communication that really makes it all come together.
And it's always the smallest things too. Just even if you don't have an update, text you don't have an update.
That's right. And
it's magical. They're cool. Everyone's fine as long as the communication is there.
Right. We always have to remember that.
That one was kind of a game changer for me. It keeps it all steady if we're all just staying on the same page and a team.
That's right.
And that is what I also try to strive for in my business, and I can definitely see that you do that as
when your clients go through an escrow and they have very few questions, that just means you're doing your job right.
Yes.
You're doing a great job. We always want to keep the client totally informed.
100%. And my final question here is going to, since you have basically weathered multiple different markets.
That's right.
I have a lot of clients, they kind of talk about the market crashing in 2008, but we know in it, this is a completely different situation. It's not going to be the same in every way.
That's right.
Now it's more of like an inventory. Too many people own their home now, or are in really low mortgage rates.
Right. So sellers, if you're watching this, we need you.
Yes, please. The rates will be coming down. What would your advice? Like just you building your business through all these different markets, you staying in there. I know a lot of, even for other real estate agents, but a lot of clients, it's maybe looking for that right time or kind of sitting on the sidelines. Just maybe, what is your advice and to overall to pull through such it's definitely been a roller coaster of different markets.
Well, you're right. And no matter what we do in life, no matter what industry we're in, we're always trying to perfect our craft. Real estate is no different. You never know everything. You're constantly learning, adopting new systems, new strategies, and that's really what it is. You always have to have multiple systems for obtaining clients. Somebody like myself, I like to work with both buyers and sellers.
Yep.
I believe working both sides of the business makes you a better realtor because you're constantly engaged in both sides. That's really my advice to everyone is continue to learn, continue to grow, and to go to different events. Get to know your colleagues. It can really make a difference. When you're submitting an offer and the agent recognizes your name on the other end, that can benefit your clients. Whether it's attending broker previews consistently, of course, attending all of your office meetings, networking events, all of those types of things really does help.
Yeah.
You don't want to hide. You want to be known. Put yourself out there and stay focused. Stay motivated.
That's just great life advice. That's
Absolutely.
where I've been. You should always be learning and growing.
And, just continue to have that drive and that passion.
That's amazing. Well, Jason, I want to thank you so much for coming out today and joining us. Just keep crushing it out there, and I hope we get to work together soon.
Thank you for having me, Tiffany. Appreciate it. Thank you.